Hello and welcome to Staffordshire Youth Parliament Watch. We're your Member of Youth Parliament for Staffordshire, Moorlands and Newcastle Underline, Joe Porter here. Today I'm joined by Damian, Hind, who is the MP for East Staffordshire, and he is also a member of the Education Select Committee. Am I right there?
You are indeed, yeah.
Right. So Damian, thank you for joining me today. I highly appreciate it. It's okay if I ask you some questions about the government's education reforms?
Of course it is, Joe, and thank you very much for inviting me. It's great to be doing this. Pleasure to meet you. Great to be doing this for the Staffordshire Youth Box.
Yeah. So, how will the government's new change to the ICT curriculum by adding more computer science to the curriculum benefit the British economy?
Well, it's really important that GCSE courses are centred around things that are going to be useful to the young person doing them, and also useful to the labour market and the future economy. And of course, those two things are kind of two sides of the same coin, really, because what's useful in the world of work actually is useful to the young person. And so it was felt, and I think it's absolutely right, that in IT or ICT, as it's called in education, it was right that actually the real kind of high octane thinking that goes into the design and the real high value added end of the IT industry should feature very prominently in that qualification.
So do you think, like, compared to the rest of the world, this is going to benefit our economy, if you compare us to China, so our graduates will be able to compete with that?
Yeah, I'm afraid in many cases, and IT is probably one of them, it's not really a question of us being on a level playing field with places like China and Singapore now and being able to pull ahead. Sometimes it's a question of catching up with some of the stuff they're doing. I mean, we don't have nearly enough people studying maths after age 16, for example. That's something we've got to really work.
So I'm just going to ask you about the tuition fees situation. Okay. So why has the government opted to have £9,000 as the maximum yearly tuition fees payment rather than keeping it to £7,000 when there are many young people who can't afford the high cost of tuition fees?
Well, when it comes to affordability, Joe, I mean, as you know, if you're going to go to university and you're 18 or 17, you don't suddenly have to find £7,000 or £9,000 for your first year's fees. You pay it over time later on after you've graduated, when you're already in a job that's paying quite a decent wage, and you pay it proportionally to what you're earning. So it's a bit like paying tax. In fact, in many ways it is like a graduate tax as much as it is like a loan system. So there's no reason that people should be put off because of affordability. But I do agree we've got to do a communications job to make sure that people know that, and to make sure people, maybe people from more disadvantaged backgrounds who may worry about these things because of some of the stuff they've heard in the media, we need to make sure the right messages get out. But to answer what was the heart of your question, why 9,000 rather than 7,000, the question is how much does a degree cost? The government doesn't decide how much a degree costs.
But couldn't they provide that gap, the difference?
Well, a government can provide anything if you could find the way to raise the taxes on somebody else to pay for it. When it comes to higher education, I benefited from higher education myself. I've done in my life, I've earned a lot more. Before I came to Parliament, I earned a lot more as a result of being in university, having gone to university, than I would have done if I didn't. So, what the policy is saying is that people who benefit from it, actually, it's probably right, it's probably fair, that they're the ones who pay for it, so long as it happens gradually over time and only when you've reached a certain income level.
Okay, thank you. Right, so now, what is the rationale behind removing advanced skills teachers who are highly qualified leaders in education from their roles within schools when it helps with improving school standards?
Well, you'd have to give me an example of advanced skills teachers actually being physically removed from schools. And if that is the case in your area or in your school, I don't know. In general, what we need to look at is making sure that we have the very best teachers possible, best teaching methods, and also to make sure that teachers are well supported in class.
Of course,
what everybody, good students like you, Joe, one of the things you want is a teacher who's got good subject knowledge, but also who keeps good order in the class so you can learn. And you want to know that if that teacher has to do something in terms of discipline for somebody who's not contributing to good order, we need to know the system's going to stand by them.
That these advanced skills teachers, they help schools which are struggling in the league tables with certain subjects to try and improve their standards. So, for example, I've got a teacher at my school who goes out on a Thursday to help other schools in the county who are struggling in the league tables. So, why have they been removed from their positions when they're deemed so much?
Who's that teacher?
She's called Miss Poole.
Should we give the proverbial shout out to Miss Poole, who I'm sure does a great job, and I don't know her. Obviously, I don't know what she does, but I'm sure
she's very passionate.
If you rate her, I'm sure it's very good. there's nothing to stop schools carrying on doing that. I mean, one of the features of the sort of change of government, the change of approach, is to force fewer things on schools. It doesn't mean you can't do them, but you have less of a sort of a restrictive framework that says this is what you do if you are a school, this is what you do if you're an outstanding school, this is what you do if you're an advanced skills teacher, and have more freedom. And actually, in my experience, schools use that freedom really well. In my area, in Hampshire, there's a thing called the Education Improvement Partnership. It brings together all the primary schools and the secondary schools and the sixth form college and the PRU, in fact, the referral unit in the area together to work on things where they have mutual benefits. So some minority subjects that only some small number of people want to study. Maybe they only provide that in one of the schools, and then the other, they all work together.
Right, okay.
And they don't do that because anyone's told them to do it. They do it because, everybody I know is a teacher or a head teacher in a school. They believe in children, believe in young people, they want the best for them. Yeah. And if that means working together and doing things differently, then they will.
Right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Great to meet you, Joe.
Yep, you too.
And good luck with the project.
Thank you.